All right, so today we're going to talk about how to flush a toilet without running water. This is a problem you might face while at home. Maybe you have to cut the water off for a few days while you're doing some plumbing or building an addition to a house. If you're in an apartment complex or a big building, sometimes they'll cut the water off for the whole day. And you might be in trouble if you have to use the toilet a lot. So knowing how to flush the toilet without running water can help you, and we're going to get you started. The first thing you'll need is a bucket about this size. If you have something half the size, it's okay too, but you'll want to fill it up. So we're going to fill this bucket up today about halfway. The second thing you want to do is, if your building or if your house has not turned off the water, you'll want to check in the back to make sure this screw is open. To the left, it opens and it allows water to come through the water line into the tank. If it's turned to the right all the way, then someone's turned it off. Maybe they're working on the plumbing or working on the house. Turn it all the way to the left, it should allow water to come in. If no water enters your toilet, you should still have some water in the tank. You can take off the top, check the tank, the water level. Even if your water's been cut off, you still should have one good flush left in this tank. And I'd advise you to, maybe not flush urine, and just flush number 2 if you want to save this water for the whole day. If you have no water in the tank, you're going to want to take your bucket, and this size, we're going to fill it up about halfway, but it needs to be a significant amount of water. And one thing you're going to find is that if your water's cut off, you might not be able to fill up this bucket. So what do? There's a few options. If you're in an apartment complex, you might have to walk to the neighboring building to see if you can get some water from there. A lot of the other buildings have nozzles on the side that you can fill up. Maybe fill up this bucket in the parking lot. If you're at home, you're going to want to go outside. Maybe you have a pool you can fill up your bucket with. Maybe there's a pond. Maybe there's a neighbor or a fountain that you can use as well. You're going to have to find water somewhere if the water to your house is turned off. Once you find water, you're going to want to fill this up about halfway. So today, for the example, I'm going to use the bathtub. Fill this up halfway with water. Now that you've filled your bucket up, you're going to want to lift up the toilet seat, both the seat area and the lid. You're going to need as much space as possible in order to dump the water in. Your toilet is going to flush best when you have a large amount of water that enters the toilet at one time. So in doing this, there might be some splash out of the toilet. If you want, you can use bathing towels to put around the toilet. If that's gross and you want to make sure none of it gets on the floor. Otherwise, you really just need to create some space for you, and you're going to want to dump. We filled this bucket up about this much here. You're going to want to dump this all at one time, and you don't want it to drizzle in, like you don't want it to move slowly. You're going to want a large amount of water going in at one time. It's going to flush everything out, and hopefully your toilet isn't clogged. If you have a clog, then you're going to want to be careful with the water that you put in the toilet. So here's an example of how to do it. You can get close to the toilet, but make sure you're dumping all at one time. And there you have it. That's how to flush a toilet without running water.